What's up? You support Trump?
Yes, I do.
Why is that?
I support his foreign policy, economic policy, and immigration policy.
Yeah, which one do you want to talk about?
Whichever one you want to decide. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which immigration policy do you support?
The Immigration Nationality Act, the Remain in Mexico policy, and the mass deportation policy.
What is one benefit of mass deportation?
Decreases demand for goods and services, which right now we have a demand issue within the economy. That's why the Federal Reserve Bank has the interest rate upwards of 3%.
Yeah, my only issue is that there's going to be more negatives or more harmful things that happen in terms of mass deportation to average American citizens compared to the benefits. And I can just point out the negative effects if you'd like.
Yeah, so can you tell me how it would help with the demand issue within our economy, seeing as inflation is being curbed by the interest rate by the Federal Reserve Bank?
Yeah, so in terms of the demand, supply would also go down. There would also be jobs that go down. So yeah, while we were moving 11 million unauthorized people, would decrease the demand. That would also decrease the supply, right? Because one out of every undocumented immigrants is a construction worker. They contribute into the housing and the supply side, not the demand side. They're overwhelmingly contributing into the supply side of the housing market. And then in terms of jobs as well, according to Pile Immigration Council, for every 500,000 immigrants removed, 44,000 U.S.-born workers will lose their job because there is less of a demand for certain goods.
So the immigrants that we currently have here now are not even keeping up with the demand as it is. So I don't know how you guys are drawing a correlation that they're helping us keep up with demand when they can't even help us keep up with the supply currently for housing.
How are they not helping us keep up with the supply?
Do you not realize that we have a shortage of housing?
But how is that the fault of the immigrants?
Well, you said that if we keep them here, that they're going to help contribute to the supply, and you pointed out
overwhelmingly they do.
May I finish my point, please?
Go for it.
So, if they're helping us maintain supply according to the demand, which they have not, because we still have a shortage of supply in housing, and the housing is not able to keep up with the demand that American citizens have, seeing as we have almost an entire generation that cannot afford to buy a home. So they're not keeping up with supply. Majority of our product supply is imported from overseas and manufactured in another country.
Yeah, so my statement was that 1 out of every 7 undocumented immigrants is a construction worker, and overwhelmingly they contribute to the supply. I didn't say that they are making the supply side or the supply side of the housing market better. But if we do remove 11 million unauthorized workers and 1 out of every 7 undocumented immigrants, since they are a construction worker, that is going to impact the supply side of the housing market.
I have proof of that. Because according to the BLS, the majority of the people that we bring into the country, as far as imports come for immigrants, we're basically bringing a lot of people in from Mexico, which would fall in the Hispanic community. And when they correlate that to the breakdown of employment by race, illegal immigrants or just Hispanics in general do not make up like construction and agriculture. They actually work more in sales and professional industries.
And we're not just talking about like Hispanics or Latinos. We're talking about undocumented immigrants. That can mean wherever they come from.
Do you have legitimate documentation of how many people are residing in the country undocumented?
Yeah, no, we don't have the exact number of how many
then
people
it's
here are
impossible
undocumented.
for you to have that data.
So how is that impossible?
Okay. How can you give me a figure of a 1 in how many when you don't actually have the actual variable?
We can do it roughly.
Well, roughly is a made-up estimation that doesn't exist in a reality.
But now
That's
you're just going to have
guess.
to disprove the estimation that I provided you.
You can't prove the estimation to begin with, so it's not accurate.
We can't make estimations?
Well, an estimation is just a guess, and I wouldn't reflect policy.
But you just said we can't. So then what you just said is we can't make guesses. That makes absolutely no sense.
You can guess, but it's not something I'm not going to manufacture policy on a guess.
Yeah, so it's not me that made the guess. Give me 1 second.
It doesn't matter who made the guess. The data that you're about to present is impossible to be accurate on its face because you don't have the actual documentation of every illegal immigrant that's residing in the country.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you there. We don't have the documentation of every undocumented immigrant that's in this country. So then, what's your solution here? While I look at this source that I'm reading here, what's your solution for undocumented entry?
Yeah, my solution is we as a society decided upon making federal laws in regards to immigration through our representative republic. So you and I both voted in representation. They went into our federal government and the legislative branch. They passed legislation that then became law. Then you elect a president that will enforce that law. And so 77 million people went to the election booth and voted for what they wanted. So if you guys appreciate the democracy, then you should allow Americans to get exactly what they voted for.
Yeah, that didn't answer my question.
It did.
No, I said what's your solution for undocumented
to enforce
entry?
The law.
To enforce the law.
To enforce the law stands for the last 50 years.
Okay, so in enforcing the law. So I guess I'll ask you, what is the core issue of undocumented entry?
I already just told you. My core issue is an economic issue.
An economic issue.
I don't like the increasing the demand within the economy when it's not necessary.
Like why do people come here undocumented? Like what is the main reason they come here?
I don't care what their reasoning is.
In order to fix an issue, we have to look at the core issue of why that issue is happening, right?
I don't have to look at.
So if you want to fix undocumented entry,
point of view.
No, but if you
I don't have to look at it from their point of view. I'm an American citizen. I'm an American citizen, natural born. I don't have to care about what their needs are coming into the country. What I vote for is what is on the benefit of the American citizens who are born here. And I put American citizens and their needs before the needs of foreigners that I have an option to let in or not let in.
Yeah, if you wanna fix undocumented entry and reduce undocumented entry, you would agree that you have to fix the core issue, right?
No, I can just simply deport you for walking into the country because you broke our laws.
But that doesn't fix undocumented entry. That's so deporting people is not.
They're going to come in regardless of whatever you do. Like
right,
Kamala Harris, for instance, she went down and invested or got private investments in certain countries in Central and South America. Yes, it did not stop the mass migration that came to the border.
It reduced
We've tried
significantly.
multiple different issues down there, and it has not been a solution. The solution is we pass laws. There's no solution if
there is absolutely solutions.
Okay. If what solutions have we not tried that you think have not already been done already?
Yeah.
Down in Central and South America.
I'll just give you the reason why people decide to come here undocumented, because that's going to be the core issue, and then I'll give you my solution for that core issue. And my solution is going to significantly decrease undocumented entry. So the core issue of undocumented entry is that it's expensive and it takes too long, which is why we see people come here through means of undocumented entry rather than legal entry. So my solution for that would just to be what Biden and Harris tried to do under their term, pass legislation to increase more judges, more immigration judges, so that this process goes faster, that their case goes quicker, and that their case is cheaper for them to be able to afford it, right? And now it's not gonna. What they tried to do wasn't like 100%, right? It was a step in the right direction, but we need to do that at a greater extent, funding more judges, funding more immigration courts, so that the process gets more cheaper and quicker, so that people are more incentivized to come in the legal way, which is what we all want, rather than come here undocumented. Now, for the people who are violent criminals, they're gonna come here undocumented either way. We deport them. And it's going to be way easier to deport them because we have more people coming in legally rather than illegally.
Okay, you've landed your plane, right? And I'm going to be able to dispute this uninterrupted, correct?
Sure, go for it.
Okay. It is not my problem or the problem of any American what's going on in Central and South America and all throughout the globe. Our situations at home are our domestic issues. I do not care what their reasoning is to come to the border. We do not have to bring in even legal immigrants if we choose not to. So whether someone wants to come in illegally or come in the legal process, I think both should be difficult. We spend a lot of money in this country. We offer a lot in terms of economic prosperity and safety within the United States. I don't care what their reasoning is. You break our laws, you will be removed. You come in when we say you come in. And if you don't abide by the laws, goodbye. I don't care about what's going on in Central South America. Please tell me why American citizens have to be the sugar daddy of the entire globe. We're trillions of dollars in debt.
I mean, you just your dispute to my
No, it
point was
actually
just you don't
explained to me
care.
why we need to be the sugar daddy of the world.
I'll explain to you, and I just want to point out that your dispute to my argument was I don't care, quote unquote. That's what you said. That's your dispute.
Because the premise of you wanting illegal immigrants here is that you want to
don't.
solve all of the problems that are going on in Central and South America.
I want to solve our problem. Our problem.
This is our problem.
Immigration. No, our problem is the immigration courts that take too long and are too expensive. That's the fault of our government.
That's not the problem. Actually, the problem is people who are falsely claiming asylum.
Asylum is legal. Yeah, asylum is legal. We're talking about undocumented entry. Don't conflate the two.
Okay, well, in case you weren't aware of like what was actually going on, the problem is the asylum courts. And if you'd actually read the bipartisan, quote unquote, bipartisan border bill, that was part of the solution, is to clear up the asylum cases. The problem that I have is I said, and everybody else who voted within this last election, we don't care why you want to come here. We laid the borders and the parameters and our boundaries. If you do not abide by the laws that have been set in this country for over 50 years, which Bill Clinton enforced these laws, Obama enforced these laws, Biden enforced these laws, and Trump enforced these laws. So you either abide by them or you get removed. I don't have to solve your problems.
So I'll address the last thing you said in terms of what you wanted me to respond about America being this quote-unquote sugar daddy. But I just want to point out, again, you didn't dispute my argument, so therefore I would just be right.
I did dispute your argument.
All you
your
just
argument
said was you
has no
don't care.
premise.
Your
argument is based in a feeling. I don't need to debate you on your feelings.
It's based on facts and logic.
Okay, so show me how anything that you will do will prevent people from just coming over the border illegally regardless, because it's not an option to have people just flood into the country, because you have to be able to control demand of the economy. If you just allow massive amount of people, so like I snap my finger, 20 million people show up in the country, how are you going to immediately meet supply for 20 million people?
Yeah, so I'll just show you how my argument was right. I'll answer your question.
No, can you actually? Nope. Answer my question. How are you going to meet demand for 20 million people?
So your original question was to show how my premise is right, or do you want me to answer the second question first?
Your premise is based in feelings.
So, but I'll just disprove that, which is the first point you made. I'll do it in a syllogism: premise 1 and premise 2, and then the conclusion of premise 1 and premise 2. Premise 1: the core issue of undocumented entry is that it takes too long and it's too expensive. Would you agree with premise 1?
I don't care whether or not it's too expensive.
But do you agree with that premise or no?
That people choose to come in illegally based on things being more difficult to come in legally, yes. But I'm also against like certain legal parameters for legal immigration. I think we should limit legal immigration as well.
That's great. So you agree with premise 1. Premise 2, in order to fix the core issue, in order to fix undocumented entry, you have to fix the core issue, which would be that it takes too long and it's too expensive. You agree with premise 2?
Okay, so I don't know what part you missed where I said that I also disagree with certain parts of legal immigration. So I think
legal immigration has nothing to do with undocumented entry. Can you just say whether you agree or disagree with premise 2?
One, you're unaware of Donald Trump's policies of removing certain visas. So even if you're here legally on a visa, we've been revoking those as well. So
we can talk about that after, but we're talking about undocumented entry.
It doesn't matter either way. So I don't know why you're disputing, because even in legal immigration, I disagree with some parameters of legal immigration. I think it should be harder to bring people in here.
That's great, but we're not talking about legal immigration. We're talking about undocumented.
We're talking about all immigration.
So can you give me agree or disagree?
Did you not hear the first premise on the first question that you asked me? So I'll remind you what your question was. Why do you support Donald Trump? I said I support Donald Trump on his immigration policy, not what your subjective view of what you think immigration policy should be, what Donald Trump's immigration policy should be. So you're debating your own argument. I'm not debating.
I'm debating with you because
I'm debating what Donald Trump's policy is.
Do you want to reduce?
The Trump administration has been not only to restrict certain forms of legal immigration, but illegal immigration as well through mass deportation.
So would you agree that I mean we're just going in circles here because you're not willing to acknowledge.
Nope. Is it a true statement that it's not just illegal immigration that we are addressing, it's also legal immigration that we are addressing with the Trump administration?
So I would agree that he is doing stuff with visas, legal migration. I just don't think that's a good thing.
Would be legal.
That's another topic. Yeah, he's doing.
It's not another topic. This is Donald Trump's policy.
Would you agree that there's a difference between legal migration and undocumented entry? There's a difference, right?
His policy is his policy. So this is what I said.
But there's a difference between legal migration and illegal migration. What I said to you is you're debating something that is outside the realm of Donald Trump's policy, only focusing on illegal immigration. So Donald Trump's policy is not in surrounding and encompassing only illegal immigration. The reason why it's outside, quote unquote, his realm.
Only debate that portion of it and not debate the rest of it.
Because we're not going to debate 2 points at a time. We're going to debate one point and then the next point. Undocumented entry, we can debate that first point, and then we can. So the reason why you said it's out of his realm is because he hasn't done nothing in the long-term solution for undocumented entry. He has done absolutely nothing in terms of long-term solutions for undocumented entry. That's why I provided you with a syllogism of the core issue and fixing the core issue, okay? Because he has done nothing. And with you agreeing with both of my premises would show that he has done absolutely nothing. He hasn't tried to make the process faster or cheaper.
That's not his job.
That's not his job?
Nope, it's the job of the legislative.
Whose job is it?
Yeah, it's the job of the legislative branch. I don't know if you know how basic civics work. Donald Trump can't snap his finger and change immigration law. That has to arrive from the legislative branch. So you need to go pick up the phone, call your congressional members, and tell them to pass laws. They have not been able to do that on both sides of the aisle. It's not Donald Trump's responsibility to do that.
Okay, but now you're saying it's not his responsibility, but you agree with fixing the core issue, right?
It depends on what we agree on as a core issue.
But you agreed with premise one.
On it.
You agreed with premise one. So then, if you disagreed with my solution, why did you agree with premise one? That's a contradiction. Right?
I never agreed with your premise to begin with because your entire premise focused on illegal immigration. I don't agree with either massive amounts of legal immigration, and I don't agree with illegal immigration as well. But Donald Trump is not the makeup of the legislative body, is not a dictator, even though you guys insinuate that he is. He can't snap his finger and change immigration law. That has to be done in Congress. You understand that. Everybody else understands that.
So then why did Donald Trump shoot the bipartisan border bill when it was being done in Congress under the Biden-Harris administration?
The bipartisan which one? HR 815, Senate Bill 4361, Senate Bill 1444, which one? HR 2, which one?
Yeah, so it's going to be the Langford bill. That was made by a Republican. So it was made by a Republican.
No,
and
it's
this
not.
It was made by a Republican.
No, it's not.
It was. It was introduced by a Republican.
It's sponsored by Christopher Murphy. So there's two bills.
It was introduced by a Republican. What are you talking about?
You don't even know the bill number, bro. Let me explain it to you because you're uneducated on the topic. So Senate Bill 1444 is James Langford's bill. Okay, then Christopher Murphy, who is sitting on the same committee, comes through with Senate Bill 4361. He's the only sponsor of the bill, not a single co-sponsor. You only got one Republican vote for this. One. And you're telling me this is a bipartisan bill.
Really quickly, before we go on to this argument, do you agree with the premise, the first premise that I presented with you, that the issue of the core issue of undocumented entry is the fact that it takes too long and is too expensive? Agree or disagree?
I don't disagree, but I also disagree with letting mass legal immigration in here as well. I want restrictions on H-1B visas. I think we're pretty full on the supply of labor right now.
That's great. That's not what I'm asking, though. So you said you don't disagree. Do you agree? Do you agree or disagree? It's a one-word answer.
I've answered your question 3 times.
Okay, so if you've answered it 3 times, you can answer it for a 4th time.
Do you remember what I said?
Yeah, you said, quote,
what did I say?
You said, quote, I don't disagree.
No.
That's what you said. Wait, why are you lying? That's what you said. That is absolutely what you said.
You just asked me that question less than 5 seconds ago. I said, yes, I agree. And
okay, why are you? Okay, that's just a lot. You said
after I told you 3 times the exact same answer.
Okay, I'm being gaslit because I'm being gaslit because you said, "Cool, I don't disagree."
Gaslighting you.
You said I don't disagree, quote unquote.
I said I don't disagree, which means that I agree with you on the premise.
Cool. So you agree with the premise that the issue of undocumented entry is the fact that it takes too long and it's too expensive.
Yes.
Cool. So since you agree with that, you want to fix that core issue, right?
I don't want additional legal immigration.
We're not talking. Why are you conflating the two? We're not talking about legal immigration. We're talking about undocumented entry.
Okay. Do you want what I have to say, or are you going to talk over me and write your own narrative here?
I'm not writing any narrative. I just want to stay on undocumented entry. Undocumented entry, not legal migration.
I've said to you multiple times now. I don't know why it's not processing for you, so I'll say it again. Whether or not you fix illegal immigration and it all turns to legal immigration, I'm still not going to be on board with mass legal immigration. Does that make sense? So it doesn't matter if you change the law.
So would you prefer having undocumented entry or legal entry?
Legal entry is preferable, but that comes from Congress, not from the president. So you're mad at the wrong person.
I'm actually, the point that I was going to make is going to be the bipartisan border bill, which was going to fund more immigration judges.
You don't even know what you don't even know what the bipartisan border bill is. You don't even know who it's sponsored by.
Yeah, so you haven't been able to disprove anything I said, not even the first point that I made when you came on here.
Hang on. What is the bill number for the vote that happened that went to cloture over the bipartisan border bill? What border bill is it?
That's irrelevant because the border bill didn't get passed.
It's not irrelevant because you're making a claim about a bill that you don't even know.
Did the border bill get passed?
It did not get passed.
It did not get passed, so that is irrelevant.
Yes, but the false premise that you put forth that it is bipartisan. If it's bipartisan, it has a co-sponsor. Who's the co-sponsor for the bill?
Yeah, so that's irrelevant because the border bill did not get passed.
You said it's bipartisan.
So the reason why I brought it up is to talk about the reason why it didn't get passed. The reason why I don't want to talk about the border bill in general. I want to talk about why it didn't get passed.
Okay. Where is it bipartisan?
That's irrelevant to the conversation.
It is not irrelevant. You made the claim it's bipartisan.
Okay, what's the relevance?
You made the claim it's bipartisan.
I didn't make the claim it was bipartisan. That's there was Republican
support to begin with.
There was Republican support. Republicans voted for this until Donald Trump told them to vote against this.
One Republican
until Republicans told them to vote against this. The reason why Republicans did not vote for this bill.
Don't run away.
You're literally the one who hasn't. You're literally the one who said, "I don't care" as a dispute to my argument. So who's the one running away?
Because your argument is not Donald Trump's policy.
We were talking about his policy. We were talking about his policy.
You need to remember the questions that you asked me because you're losing the actual connection to what you asked. You asked, "Do I support Donald Trump?" Yes. On what? I said his immigration policy. And you ran to one subsect of his policy.
Because we're talking about one point.
Legal immigration that we also have a problem with. So when you try to just debate one little niche topic of what his policy is without encompassing the entire thing, that would be inaccurate. So you said the bill is bipartisan. Nope.
You're just saying a bunch of word salad. Can you can you
comprehend?
Can you repeat what you just said in 2 sentences or less?
Yes. Donald Trump's policy is not just encompassing illegal immigration. It encompasses legal immigration as well.
I agree. Okay, where's the disagreement?
So
we're focusing on illegal immigration first. Because we're not going to be debating 2 points. That's just dishonest of you to want to debate 2 points at a time. If you need to talk
over me, then you're losing the argument.
That's just dishonest of you to want to be talking about 2 points. Why do you want to talk about 2 points at a time? We're talking about 1 point, which is undocumented entry.
I can walk and chew gum at the same time. It's not difficult.
Okay, that's great. Good for you. Do you want a cookie?
I don't. Well, you're the one struggling with it. So you said this bill is bipartisan. I want you to show me the co-sponsor that is a Republican on Senate Bill 4361 that actually went to the Senate floor for a vote.
Yeah, so whoever co-sponsored or sponsored this bill is irrelevant because the bill did not get passed. The bill did not get passed. And you already agreed on that. The reason why the bill did not get passed is because we're talking about the bill. What am I running away from?
You said Donald Trump was responsible for this bill not getting passed.
And I was about to tell you why. I haven't even given you my argument as to why.
You're wrong immediately on your face, but go ahead.
You're going to say, so what was the argument I was going to make?
Yeah, so the argument that you were going to make is that Donald Trump said don't pass it, so they didn't pass it.
Yeah, so how is that wrong? Prove it wrong.
Okay, so I was right in already knowing what your argument is. Okay,
so
cool.
Prove it wrong. Cool.
Donald Trump's not the president. The Republicans in Congress don't even listen to Donald Trump. If that was the case, you would have gotten Rick Scott as the Senate Majority Leader. Instead, we have Rick Thune. Yes. We have John Thune as being our Senate Majority Leader.
So I can agree with those 2 points. He wasn't the president.
Not Congress.
He's not the president, right? But that doesn't mean he didn't have like control over these Republicans because he was going to be elected in 2024. Okay. That's the whole reason. The whole reason why he did this is because he wanted to pass the same bill under his administration, his second administration, if he were to win.
He has nothing to do with it. Donald Trump.
Wait, he said if it doesn't pass, blame me.
You want it out of James Langford's mouth? If I pull up James Langford's explanation of why that bill didn't pass and includes that whole sentence and said it had nothing to do with that, What is going to be
So
your
then why
response?
did Donald Trump say that it was his
No,
fault and to blame him?
answer the question. If I
Well,
pull up
my
James Langford
answer
right now and his explanation why that bill didn't pass, and it's completely wrong about the premise that you laid out, what's going to be your reaction?
my reaction won't
gonna make
matter.
me lie?
I'm gonna give you a facts response.
What facts?
My
You don't have
my
facts.
evidence is just gonna be the fact that, or my response is just gonna be the fact that Donald Trump contradicted whatever they said.
Okay.
He said it was his
no.
fault. He said it was his own fault.
He said you can blame me. However,
Yeah, exactly, precisely. Yes. Blame
Just
me if the
because
border bill
someone
fails.
says you can blame me doesn't
That's just
mean
but that's
why it
contradictory
didn't
though.
pass.
But that's contradictory to whatever you're going to bring
It's
up. So
not
that point is
contradictory.
irrelevant. That point's dead in the
Nope.
water.
Nope.
That point's
So
dead in the water.
James Langford, okay, who didn't vote for this bill, by the way, that you said he fucking wrote, which he isn't the one that wrote this bill, it's Christopher Murphy. So just really quick. Now, James Langford wrote the Senate Bill 1444. He wrote that bill. But Senate Bill 4361 was Christopher Murphy's bill. Okay? Now, in that bill, yes, they did include more judges. Yes, they did include more funding for CBP. But they also wanted to allow 2 parole programs to continue. The CBP One app and the CHMV program, which Republicans had a huge problem with. They said, we're not going to continue to allow mass migration while just increasing judges and calling it good. That's not how we're going to handle this. So you didn't prove it's bipartisan. One Republican voting on a bill is not even equivalent to bipartisan. The way that you support a bill bipartisanly is you get co-sponsors. That's how you do that. That's how the legislative branch works.
Before the point that you interrupted me, you said that there was no contradictions between the person saying that they didn't, it wasn't Donald Trump's fault, and then Donald Trump saying that it was his fault. That is literally a contradiction. What do you mean it's not a? What do you mean it's not a contradiction?
It's not his fault. He's not in Congress.
You said it wasn't. You said it wasn't a contradiction. How is that not a contradiction?
Donald Trump can say whatever he wants. It doesn't mean that it's true.
But
So
those two
now
statements
let's
would be
go to
contradictory,
the lie
right?
that you just got done.
But
Where am I going to find James Langford?
So those two
Don't
statements,
run.
those two statements would
Don't
be contradictory,
run.
right?
Why are
Those
you
two
running away from the
you're being
claim?
emotional. You're being emotional.
I'm not emotional.
You
I'm
absolutely
not
being
emotional.
emotional.
I'm holding your feet to the fire because you straight up lied about
Yeah.
this bill.
So can you answer my question?
You already went over this claim 5 seconds ago.
No, you didn't. You
I
didn't
told
answer.
you it didn't matter because we didn't get Rick
Okay, so
Scott.
now it doesn't matter.
Okay, so you have
two
to
statements-
prove,
two
you
statements
have
being
to prove
contradictory
that
doesn't matter?
You have to prove that Republicans in Congress listened to Donald Trump, and I can point out multiple examples of where Congress completely defied Donald Trump. They defied Donald Trump over the border
that
bill
doesn't matter.
funding.
That doesn't matter because Donald Trump said if the border bill fails, it's going to be his fault. And then you made the claim
That
someone else
doesn't mean
said, and
anything.
then stop interrupting me. You're so emotional. Calm down.
I'm not emotional, and
You're
I
absolutely
don't
emotional.
appreciate the gaslighting from liberal men about me being emotional.
Wait,
At the end of the
interruption-
day,
interruption
I just
isn't
caught
emotional.
You in a lie, and now you're trying to pivot back to Donald Trump after I just caught you in a lie. 'cause
Wait,
I'm
what does this
looking at
say?
the
Wait, what does
border
this
bill.
say? Why do you
Says,
support Trump?
why
So
do
it's
you
not a
support
pivot.
Trump?
This live is about Donald Trump, so it's not a pivot.
Okay, good. So you just made a claim about
No,
this
actually,
bill.
you made a claim about the statement being contradictory
Yes, I said it
to
had
what
no
Donald Trump said.
co-sponsors.
No,
And
you made the
said
claim that
you
the statement was
fact-checked me.
contradictory, and then you said that it wasn't contradictory. My question is, how can something,
No,
someone saying,
this is you trying to
so
run away from
this is the
fact
first
that
time I'm
I
going to
caught-
mute you because you've interrupted me so many times. So my question is, how can something not be contradictory when someone said it was their fault and then someone said it was not their fault? How is that not contradictory? Answer the question. Don't pivot.
Okay.
Don't ignore
Donald
the question.
Trump-
Answer the
Donald
question.
Trump didn't say it's his fault. He said,
He
you're
said blame me.
welcome to
He said blame me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how is that not
you
contradictory?
You can't even keep your own statements in check. So one, you went from saying that he said it was his fault to he said, I don't
Yes, he did
support
say
it. Blame me if you want to. But just because someone says you can blame me doesn't mean that it's actually their fault. So when I am proving to you right now,
But that's not the point that I made.
why are you ready? One, you don't even know your own points because you can't even.
You
keep
don't even
track
know
of
my
the things
you
that
don't know my own
say.
points. You don't know my own points because you didn't even answer the
You
point.
don't even know what you're talking about. So
I actually
want
do
you to
know what
show
I'm
me
talking
now.
about.
No, I'm done with you running away. I want
So
you to
I'm
show
going to
me.
mute you because you didn't answer my point. That is the second time I'm
I
going to mute
did
you.
answer your point
So
twice.
so what was my point? What was my point?
You said that Donald Trump said that it was his fault. I corrected you in saying that he did not say it's his fault. Yes, that's what I said to you 5 seconds ago. I corrected you and you agreed.
My point was that fact that I need to address why you think.
I answered your question.
So again, interruption, muted. I'm gonna start muting you. That is your first warning. If you interrupt me again, I'm gonna kick you. So you said that it was not contradictory for someone to say that it's not Donald Trump's fault, and then for Donald Trump to say to blame him if it does fail. You made the claim that those two statements are not contradictory. How are they not a contradiction? One of them is saying that it's not his fault. The other one is saying that they can blame him if it does fail. How is that not contradictory?
Okay, so let me explain this to you, basic English. You can blame me. The other portion of that would be like, I am to blame. So can is optional. Yes? You understand that in basic English,
right?
Correct?
You're not addressing my point.
I did address your point 3 times, and you're trying to stay on this exact point that you've gone in a circle about for about 10 minutes
you
now.
Honestly don't know how to debate.
Obfuscate from the fact that you just lied about this bill.
No,
so
I didn't.
Now that I've answered your questions 3 times, where is James Lankford? I'm on congress.gov. Where's James Lankford listed as the co-sponsor on this bill?
Yeah, since you want to talk about these bills that were passed, give me a second. I'll have to pull them back up because I exit out of them. But I just want to be clear. The reason why I was stuck on this point is because you don't know how to debate. So you don't know how to debate. You went from saying that you don't care.
Are you going to run away again?
No, I'm just addressing something.
Again.
Well, that's your second warning. Just be quiet for like 10 seconds. Have the emotional maturity of however old you are, okay? I'm sure you're an adult. Act like one. So the reason, while I'm pulling this up, I'll just say that you like absolutely suck at it. So yeah, so that's going to be like the third warning. And you're going to be disconnected. But I'll address what she said, just so chat doesn't think that I'm going to run away. So that there's multiple bills that we were referencing here. Senate Bill 1444.